Most traders lose money, but Mr. Casey Stubbs has cracked a system that flips the script. He helps everyday professionals earn 1% a week from options trading without day trading stress or high-risk gambles. He has over 30 years in the markets, and Mr. Casey Stubbs is on a mission to help thousands break free from the 9-to-5 grind. We're here on the Marketer of the Day podcast with Robert Plank. We're brought to you by DFY Podcast, where we turn your content into a lead generating machine. But what we're here to talk about isn't necessarily lead generating, but money generating. It's Mr. Casey Stubbs. If you want to follow along, he has an excellent Substack called Freedom Income Options at caseystubbs.substack.com. And sometimes we like to just put a tab open in the background while we're learning about the person. But Mr. Casey is going to tell us about just what he's discovered, what he's done, how we can duplicate, replicate his results possibly. He's going to blow our minds. So Mr. Casey, glad to see you again. Glad to be speaking with you.
Thank you. This is my third time on the show, so I am so pumped. I have really appreciated your hard work over the years.
And I've appreciated your excellent content, right? You bring it, as they say. You bring not just the information, but the entertainment factor, and you got a good personality. So that's the whole package. And so since we last spoke, what have you been up to, and what's your current focus and passion?
Well, since we last spoke, I've done a lot, and so I'm not going to go over all that. But I will just say the one thing, and that is I've been teaching people how to replace their income with options. And the thing about it is, in today's world, people don't realize it, but it is hard to survive out there. And I'm running in, so as I'm working on this, I'm running into two kinds of people. I'm running into people that don't have enough to make a living, to get ahead, to do the things that they want to do, to have freedom to go on vacation and to travel. That's group number one. And then the second group are the people that are making enough, but they still don't have that freedom because they're working too hard. You know, the guys that are working around the clock, they have the money, but they don't have a way to replace their income and get free. And so I help both of those people because right now in the current economic climate, it's tough to get ahead.
Right. So people need your help, right? It's like the money solution, it's almost there, but they just like, hey, either not enough or working too hard. So what's the answer? What have you discovered?
Well, the answer is, again, diving into the little bit of the problem, is that we have a big time inflation problem that people don't understand, and that everything increases, right? You know, house costs go up, vehicles go up, food goes up, everything goes up, and yet we don't have, our paychecks don't go up. And so they go up, but minusculely. And so we just are not, the gap between the wealthy and the poor is getting bigger and bigger. And so the answer is you've got to find out how to hack that, what's going on with inflation, and that is in the market. And the problem that everybody has is they get in the market, they don't know what to do. It's very hard, and they want to make money, and they want to make money fast. One guy I was talking to, his name was Travis. He's an HVAC guy. It's a great profession, but he's like, I've been doing this so long, and it just hurts working so hard and breaking my back every day. I need a way out. And, you know, he says, I tried trading, but I lost my money because I was trying to make money fast. And so one of the key things I do is we focus on slow growth, because taking those baby steps is really important so you don't crash and burn. Most people that give this a shot, they crash and burn because they go too fast.
Right. Yeah, and I definitely see why, right? It's human nature. I want to pull the lever on the slot machine. I want a bunch of money to come out. I don't want a little bit of a trickle. I want to replace my income. And so what do you say to that? If someone says, well, I'm tired of breaking my back with this HVAC job, but I need like all this money to replace the income, and I'm so impatient, and you tell me I need the slow growth. Do I need to like compound and like have a multi-year strategy, or how do I get to that income replacement phase?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not the get rich quick guy. So if that's you and you want to turn off right now, go ahead. But I believe the way to get rich fast is to get rich slow, and it doesn't take as long as what people think. I know they want out right away. I know they want it right away, but I have a special roadmap system that I teach people I give them a roadmap. And if you have a roadmap, it helps so much. I just did a 70-mile hike, and they would put a map, and then I'd have a mile marker. Every time I hit a mile, there was a stone marker. It's like, okay, mile 1, only 69 to go. Mile 2, 68 to go. So that's what we do. One step at a time, we get them on that journey, and it's not as bad as you think. You just got to start slow. For most people, we can usually get them pretty healthy revenues in about 4 to 5 years if they're willing to go through the process.
Right. So you have a system that works. And I was just discussing this yesterday with someone, the idea of like, you go to school and it's like multiple years and it's multiple classes and it seems like so much and it seems like such a slow, just one day at a time sort of pace, but thousands, millions of people have done it. And unless you're like Albert Einstein, no one has said, "Oh, wait, time to get my PhD. Oh, I didn't learn anything. Let me just learn it all in a week or in a day." It's not done versus this kind of slower and steady. And it probably does seem like a drag at the very beginning. You're like, "Oh, I've got so far to go." But even with your 70 miles, I'm sure once you got to like a third, over halfway, you're like, "Hey, this actually isn't so bad. I can see myself finishing, and there's still more to do, but I can kind of, the plan is taking shape." And so my understanding is that this kind of plan, it involves like 1% weekly returns. So what's that all about?
Yeah, and that's the thing, like you said, with the college, it takes time. And my sister, she's a lawyer, and she didn't actually start working. Went to college, and she didn't actually start working till she was in her 30s. And then when she was in her 30s, she had to do an internship and make peanuts, right? And then finally, when she got promoted out of the internship, she was making the big money. But it was a long, long process. And that's kind of how this works too, except it's a little faster than being a lawyer and probably not as painful. It's a little slow on the front end, but once it hits hard. And that's the whole focus, is 1% is actually not that much. And so again, it's getting people to understand, 1%, that seems like not enough, but it actually is. And the way that we do it is that we focus on things that always go up in the market. If you take a long-term chart of the S&P 500, even look back from 2008, it's almost gone straight up with a few minor exceptions for about 15 years in a row, right? That makes our job really easy because we just invest on the things like the S&P 500, like Microsoft, like NVIDIA, like Walmart. I mean, there's a whole list of them, things that are always going up. And what we do is we don't trade it, but we sell options. And when you sell an option, it's not that complicated. But when you sell an option, you don't actually own the stock, but you sell it to receive premium. Premium is to make money. So you just sell an option, you collect income each and every week.
Nice. And you have to wonder how much of we've been kind of discussing the hiking or the college or the slow and steady growth, how much of it is like the universe is seeing if you really want it, right? Seeing if you're patient enough to stick to a plan, and that way the kind of that change will actually last. And so it's very Warren Buffett of you, right? Warren Buffett saying, "Hey, put your money in Pepsi or General Mills, like the things that will always grow, that will always last." And so this whole idea of selling options, like I've heard it every few years, and I've like even just right now I heard your explanation, but I haven't quite wrapped my head around it. So can you like pretend that I know like absolutely nothing, explain it like I'm five, this whole like selling option thing? Can you like make sure like we really understand?
Yes, I absolutely can. So it's not too difficult, but it's a little bit. So in the market, you can sell an option, which they call selling a put, right? And that right there kind of gets people confused, like, what is that? But really, let's use Pepsi as an example, and we'll take a specific price. I don't really know what Pepsi's trading at right now, but let's just say it's trading at $100. So if you think that Pepsi is going to go up, right? I think Pepsi's going to go up. So I would tell someone in the market, "Hey, I think Pepsi's going to go up. I will make an offer for you to buy Pepsi off of me or I'll buy Pepsi off of you for $100. Will you pay me a small percentage if I will buy it off of you at that price? Right. And so it's a protective measure. So if you're owning Pepsi and it goes down below 100, well, then I am guaranteed now I have to buy Pepsi off of you for $100. Right. But you're paying me a fee for that protection. So if it goes up and stays above 100, I don't have to buy Pepsi off of you. I just keep the $100 or whatever the premium I got. But if it drops below 100, I have to buy it off of you for $100 a share. But either way, I still keep my money. Whatever you paid me, I keep it if it goes up or if it goes down. And we only do that on stocks that we're just rock solid about. So if it goes down and I end up having to buy Pepsi, just the market timing wasn't good, hey, I don't mind. I have Pepsi now. And guess what? I can sell an option on the stock ownership, because once you own the stock, you can do the exact same thing for stocks that you own and stocks that you don't own. So you're always collecting money, and then that's when the compound sticks in. And so the key is to do it on stocks that you love and just to be patient.
Very nice. And it's a logical plan, and nice and simple too, and easily understood. And so how does this work as far as people like changing their mindset? Because like I can imagine that there are people that like there's these extremes, right? Like, oh, I want to make $1 million and make all this money. I'm so impatient. And there's also people that maybe they kind of like they tinker a little bit and like, oh, I'll get a little bit of like a dividend here. But this whole idea of like replacing your income, it seems great. It seems like kind of in the middle, and you say, well, it takes all these years, but that seems more, I don't know, like more interesting and exciting in an adult responsible way. So as far as people kind of getting their money mindset figured out, which like, I mean, you know, it's so tricky, right? Money is this weird thing. It's just numbers or it's just pieces of green paper, but it's got our emotions like so just in a knot. So as far as like reconfiguring our minds for money and especially using your plan, like what do people need to maybe unlearn and relearn?
Well, they really need to understand the concept that they have to have a second income because the inflation rate is so drastically high. Like people do not, and it's I think it's only going to get worse. You know, I'm not going to get into all that, but it's definitely not going to get better. So everybody needs to have a way to replace their income. And so that's the first thing, is people really got to figure that out. I don't think most people know it because, again, they don't teach it in schools, and none of this stuff people know. And so how do I get them to get the mindset? Well, when they look at their pocketbook, they figure it out. Or they look that they're always working, they'll figure it out. Or if they have some painful experiences, because all I can do is plant the seed, share, continue to create that content, continue to put that message out there, and eventually enough people will pick it up and they'll grasp it, because I can't make somebody change their mindset, but if I keep putting out the message, people will grasp it.
Okay, so get that message figured out. And so as far as the failures, right? Those are always interesting and exciting, especially because when you mess up and you recover, that's inspiring, right? It's like you're not just looking for the easy path of least resistance. You're saying like, hey, you know, sometimes just life happens, right? Some things are unpredictable. So, and especially with the traders, like you hear these scary stories, just that HVAC guy alone, right? And so as far as the mistakes, the missteps, the slight failures, do you have anything interesting to share with us, just as far as maybe a little bit of a hiccup or the plan not working out?
Yeah, I've got I got personal stuff and just a lot to go with. But you know, the concept of getting out of your comfort zone so that you can grow, and that you cannot grow if you stay comfortable, I believe in that wholeheartedly. However, I also believe that if you go too fast and you're like, I'm going to get out of my comfort zone and I'm just going to jump out of the airplane without a parachute, that's out of your comfort zone, but you're going to die in the process.
Right.
And so you have to get through the idea that you're going to be uncomfortable, you're going to be growing, but you have to be relaxed and comfortable while you're doing. You got to be uncomfortable while you're going through your discomfort so that you can persevere through the long haul. And the way that I recommend people do it is they write it down. Write your goals down. Review your goals. Robert, did you know that very few people write their goals down on paper? Very few.
Only
people.
3%, according to Brian Tracy, people that write their goals down and actually like daily look at them, only 3%. Ridiculous.
I was just listening to Brian Tracy. Small world. Yeah, it's just so rare. And that's what people need to do. And so that's the first part. And a great personal example for me, I've got two of them. Number one is recently I started running again because I've got a goal. I wrote it down. I want to do a marathon. And I wrote that goal when I was 40 years old, and now I'm 48. And so I launched out of the gate and I started running, and I've been a runner off and on, and I got injured, right? I was just pushing too hard and too fast. So I slowed down, healed a couple years, and now I'm back at it. And here's what I learned. I don't care about speed. I don't care about distance. I just care about going slow and staying comfortable and knowing that I'm taking it easy, but I'm slowly growing. I'm out of my comfort zone, but I'm doing it slow. And the same thing happened to me in the markets. I just wanted to get ahead so fast. I took off like a rocket. I made my first 30,000 so fast, but I wanted to hit 1 million. I wanted to hit 2 million, and I just crashed and burned. And when you crash and burn, you die. And sometimes you never get back up. Right. I'm fortunate. Every time I fall down, I get back up. If you write your goals down and you understand your why, that's another thing, is what's your why? The stronger why that you have, I want to see my family free. I want to do these certain things. The stronger your why is, the stronger you're going to get back up, right? Because if you don't get back up, you're done. And if you go too fast, you're going to crash and burn. Everybody fails. Everybody fails. If you think that you're going to go through this without failing, you're wrong. But at least if you go slow, you'll have small failures. If you crash and burn, it's so much harder to get back up.
Right. So endurance, so that way the failures will be small and not catastrophic, not game ending. It's just something that slows you down along the way. And speaking of that, day trading, right? It's like, I remember when I was 20, and it was even before smartphones, but I got these like text message alerts on my phone if it went above this or below that. And it was the most, I don't think there's been anything more stressful than that. Just always checking and always looking, and my emotions were literally changing based on a number that was being manipulated by who knows who. Anyways,
it's
right?
Like the slot machine in the sky.
Yeah, and it was like just the worst form of gambling ever, and it was just I felt extremely dehumanized because it was like I was under the control of this machine, and I also felt bad for myself because I was afraid to even add up the amount of time I kept like looking at this. And so I imagine that people want to avoid that, right? But it's so tempting to like go and check it and tweak it every single day. So what do you have to say about no day trading in your approach, and like why is it so important, and what are the techniques to just keep your hand off the button?
Yeah. Well, one of my mantras that I am speaking, the message is that what we do takes an hour a week, because freedom is financial freedom, but it's also time freedom. So even if you crack the code of day trading, which very few people do, you're still a slave to the machine. 8 hours, 10 hours a day trading. That's not what we want, right? So we've designed our system to be 1 hour a week, which is you place your trades and then you check them once a week, because we're looking at long-term stuff, right? So we're selling those options that we're talking about, but we're putting them out long-term. We take it slow and easy, and it's not a myth. It's not a lie. It's real. We only trade for about an hour a week. And it's really life-changing for a lot of people, because day trading can just have so much stress. We are focusing on freedom from stress, financial freedom, and time freedom.
I like it. So freedom takes many forms, and don't fall for that trap of saying, well, I've got the financial freedom at the expense of everything else. Like imagine if you had like relationship freedom at the expense of your health, or if you had time freedom at the expense of money. It's like, don't trade one for the other. Try to have it all and be smart about it. And speaking of being smart, you have these students who've gone through your system, your course, and had results. So does any particular student come to mind, or is there anyone where like this really worked out well for them?
Well, one of the practices that I have, because I'm in communication with my students, I'm working hard to help them and I'm hands-on with them. One of my practices is to invite the successful students onto my podcast called Replace Your Income with Options. That's the name of the podcast. And I invite them on. And so Simon is my most recent interview, and he's been through my course, and he's generating over $10,000 a month. And only been doing this for about 5 months now, and he's well on his way to doing a full income replacement. And he's been very excited. And his big thing is that he's just jumped right in. He stuck with the process, and that's what really set him apart, is just trusting the process. A lot of the students want to try to figure things out or do things differently. And I agree, everybody should adjust, to their own methods, but he really did a great job of it.
Nice. So he trusted the process, and even though he might have his own ideas, or he might say, "Hey, in the future, I'll add in my own flavor," but you're not there yet, right? You're there to get Mr. Casey Stubbs to help you, and if you think that you know better right off the bat, maybe you should be teaching the class. But go for that, at least that first go around, right? Just go with what's been proven.
Yeah, I would say the other thing about Simon that really stuck out was that he just took it slow. He was not in a hurry. So just like what I said, take it slow. He demonstrated that very well.
Was that Severino?
Yeah.
I've had him as a podcast guest. He's amazing.
Oh, yes. Yes, he is.
Yeah, so we have all those connections in common. And so
we've been around a while.
Yeah, both of us. And like you said, you're a 3-time podcast guest here. And so we've known each other over the years, but I still don't know exactly the ideal question to ask here to really set you up for success in a podcast interview. So even though like we know each other, I don't know that question. So what is that missing hidden question in this conversation? What should I be asking you? I just don't know what to ask you.
What should you be asking me? Oh, wow. I would say that the first thing is that you are so good on your questions. You've obviously done this a lot because you're well thought out. So that makes it even harder because you asked almost all of the great questions. I would say probably what is the hidden risks, right? Because I've talked about all the benefits, but what is the hidden risks of doing your system?
Okay. What are the hidden risks of doing your system?
So there are risks, and I try not to hide them. Maybe I was a rephrase, but there are risks. Everything is risky. I do say that this is the least risky system I've ever seen, because when we win a trade, we keep the premium. And when we lose a trade, we keep the premium, but we have to buy the stock. So when we win, we win. And when we lose, we win, which is great. And so the biggest risk, though, is a longer-term market downturn. So let's just say we use that Pepsi example, and you get the Pepsi shares and the whole market goes down. You're going to be holding on to those Pepsi shares, and they're going to continue to go under, your value. If you paid $100 and Pepsi drops to 50, you're going to lose that. And so that's the risk there. However, even if the market crashes, I'm still happy to have Pepsi, because when the market bounces, Pepsi's going to be there. Because people love their Pepsi, and you can still create income from that, but your income will slow down and you have to be careful. But as long as we don't liquidate at a big loss and we're still comfortable with Pepsi, then we're good. So that's probably the biggest risk, but people need to be aware of when they get in that's a possibility.
Okay, and compared to some of the crazy things that you and I have seen as far as people with doing the options straddling and who knows what else, and trading on margin, people do some crazy, stupid, risky stuff with money. So it's like it makes a lot of sense to reduce the risk as much as possible, to have some rules in place, to write down your goals. That way you're not doing anything in a panicky sense. And that way you're not just like throwing out the rule book just temporarily this one time. And then that's what leads you to jump out of the plane without the parachute. Oh, I'll just do it just this one time. jumping out of a plane with no parachute. That's not good at all. So we want to say, well, hey, use our logical long-term brain, because our minds, our emotions sure play tricks on us, don't they? That we think, oh yeah, 10 years ago, I saw that red car. No, it was a green car, right? And so you write these things down, and you use this modern invention called words, called computers. That way, when you have those times of stress or you are impatient, you can kind of use the logic as the guide rails. And especially, someone shouldn't go with this alone. They should pursue a mentor such as yourself, Mr. Casey Stubbs from Replace Your Income. And if someone says, all right, a lot of what Mr. Casey Stubbs said made sense, to be selling the options, to be looking into the stocks that will go up and are solid, to be looking to increase my income 1% a week for this 5 or 6 year period. And that's all a lot of good ideas, but that doesn't help us actually take some steps, to take some action on it. So how can someone do that? What are some next steps? Where should someone go after listening to you?
Well, I have put together a beginning course. It's called my Replace Your Income Masterclass, where I break it down on how to do it, the steps that you can take. I give people a roadmap, like A to B to C to Z to the end, so they know right off the bat as part of my masterclass. And so that is where I recommend that everyone start. And then it also, with that masterclass, it's completely free, but with that, they also have access to me. They get access to my text messaging, and they can message me on text, Telegram, or email, so that they can ask me any questions they want at any time.
Very cool. And so this is what we want to do. If you've been, if a lot of what Casey said made sense, as far as you can't just have one income anymore. That's a very outdated concept, where now the world is so crazy. You can't depend on your Social Security. You can't depend on even prices remaining the same. We know they won't. We know there's inflation. So we need to have these two streams of income just for safety, if nothing else. And then you look at all the other reasons, like your time freedom, your financial freedom. Wouldn't it be great to go on some of these 70-mile hikes like Mr. Casey does? And some people say, oh, I don't even have 5 minutes free to use the bathroom. Well, something needs to change, and Casey can help you change that. To replace your paycheck, even if you're starting from scratch, you can learn the 1% weekly income system that works in just 1 hour a week. And we'll have a link to that in the show notes, because we really want you to go to the web page and click that link. That way, Mr. Casey can track the link, the clicks that we send over to him. But just in case you're just listening and you're driving or something, we'll still spit out the naked link without the tracking. That's reports.freedomincomeoptions.com/master-class to get to that. But it's better to go to the show notes and click there to find out that 15-minute masterclass that shows you the exact steps to generate weekly income from options. It's called Freedom Income Options, and it's the proven weekly trading system that helped Mr. Casey Stubbs quit his job, and now it's helping others earn consistent income without stress or screen addiction. Check it out. You'll love it. It's reports.freedomincomeoptions.com/master-class, but we'll have the actual link underneath this podcast. And as we're checking that out, and before I let you go, Mr. Casey, are there any other links? I know there's like the Replace Your Income with Options podcast, but what are some other resources? Where should someone go?
Well, I think the masterclass is the main one, but I do have a Substack, which you mentioned is caseystubbs.substack.com. I have my podcast, which is Replace Your Income with Options. It's got the same name as my course. The podcast has got a lot of great information on there as well.
Nice. It's a Substack. Might as well be a Stubbs stack, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So that's caseystubbs.substack.com. Replace your income with options. It is, but it's a good tongue twister. So that's Replace Your Income with Options podcast. But where we really want you to go is reports.freedomincomeoptions.com/master-class. And we'll have a link to that under the show notes. And as we're checking that out, Mr. Casey, it's time for the scary, terrifying part of the show, where I try to stump you. I try to put you on the spot by asking about a fun quote or lesson that has served you. So what comes to mind for a fun quote or lesson?
A fun quote or lesson. A fun quote or lesson. Boy, I'm always learning. I'm always reading. I'm always studying. And so I have thousands of these in my brain, but then the time that someone asks, it's like it's hard for them to come up. But I saw one yesterday that said, be very careful about the words that you speak, right? Don't speak negative, because then negative things will become to materialize in your life. And he said, I can't even remember the name of the speaker, so I apologize. But he said, even saying the word try, he said he cringes when he hears the words try. And I really liked that, because he was like, you know what? You're not trying anything. You're either going to do it or you're not going to do it. So say, I'm doing this. Now, it might not turn out the way that you expect, but you're doing it. You're not trying anything. So
Yeah.
Be mindful of your words. Do an inventory. What are you speaking? Because words create. Words are power. Use your words well.
I agree completely. It's so important to change your words, notice your words, rewire your brain, especially for success in pursuing financial freedom. And we said that is reports.freedomincomeoptions.com/master-class. We'll have the link down below. Thank you very much, Mr. Casey Stubbs, for being here, being a wonderful person, blowing our minds. I appreciate you bringing your A game and teaching us what we need to understand. So thank you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it as well. It was a great talk.